Hey guys, thanks for tuning in again. This is another mini episode thingy of what might become a podcast once winter camp is done. At the moment, this is just a update for my teammates in winter camp. I'm part of Team Snow Leopard. Team Cabin is Andrea, or the Cat Lady. She has the Cat Lady podcast. You can find me on Ravelry as loraclare and on Instagram as lora.clare. Again, that's Loraclare. And for Ravelry, there's a dot in between. For Instagram, there's a dot in between. Today is Sunday, February 28th. I'm on track with my every 2 weeks schedule kind of thing. Which means that there will be 2 more things, podcasty episode things, before the end of winter camp, and then I think I will probably do a end of winter camp, let me show you all of the things that I've made kind of episode, run through all those things again. So to start off, I'm going to show you what I'm wearing. Today I have been wearing my Haruni shawl. I knit this in May of 2012. I was down in Oklahoma City. I think I knit it over the course of, well, it was knit in like 2 or 3 days, but you can kind of see down here, I ran out of yarn. I was 12 rows short from one skein. This is Madeline Tosh sock in the colorway Pop Rocks. So I found someone on Ravelry who was destashing, and I bought her skein. She sent it to me. I was 12 rows short, that's it. So only the last 12 rows. You can actually see it better on the camera than you can in real life. But the color is just a tiny bit different. It's definitely brighter up here and a little more, still bright, but more dull down here. It doesn't bother me at all. I actually used the rest of this skein in another shawl with more Madeline Tosh sock in a dark blue. I'll probably wear it at some point in the future. Madeline Tosh is one of my favorite yarns to use. I have used it quite frequently, both the sock and the Madeline Tosh Merino Light. I'm trying to expand my repertoire of yarns though, so I'm not sure that I will continue to stash this for a while, or this kind of yarn. Obviously this is wearable, not stash anymore. But yeah. Unless someone buys it for me, I think I'm probably going to stop purchasing Madeline Tosh because I have so much and have used it so frequently that I want to try something different. I only have one finished knitted thing to show you today. It is a shawl knit out of, it's kind of a skinny shawl, fat scarf kind of thing. Knit out of some hand-spun wool and alpaca. It's 60% alpaca, 40% wool. I got the fiber at a spin-in St. John last fall. I think it was the very last spin-in of the year. I went up there with 2 of my guild members, fellow guild members, and we spent the morning and early afternoon hanging out with a bunch of other ladies, spinning and knitting, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. So this is the Tidblad pattern by Maya Andreasen. It's knit from end to end in a slightly crescent shape pattern. It is super soft and squishy and cozy. I love it. But it's not mine. I'm actually going to give it to my boyfriend's mom. She really likes a lot of the things that I make, and I have given her a couple things that she actually wears fairly regularly. Last time I kind of ran up to her truck and handed her something through the window as she was leaving. I saw one of the beanies that I spun the yarn and then knit for her just on the front seat. So I know that she is definitely knit worthy. So I didn't make it. I decided to go with this pattern because it can be worn more like a scarf than a shawl if she wants to, because, you know, it's not everyone's preference to wear a shawl or a giant piece of clothing that isn't really easy to wear with jackets that you typically buy at the clothing stores these days. So she can wear it as a shawl or as a scarf, but I'm sure that she will love it. She's liked everything that I've made her so far. My spin ended up being about a DK weight. It's just a 2-ply. It has a nice halo on it. You can kind of see, maybe not. iPad cameras kind of suck if it's an old iPad. But there is a little bit of a halo. My cat actually really likes this. She has done that whole kneading thing on it as I've been knitting it quite a few times. So yeah, but super soft and squishy, and I almost want to keep it, but I'm not going to because I know that she will love it. I am actually drinking tonight in my Tacoma Marathon, or Tacoma Narrows half marathon finisher cup thingy. I picked this up from the local beer and wine store. It's brewed over in Tacoma. I've had it before. It's really good. I like triples and quads. Yeah, beer is a good thing. Let's see what I'm working on now. Right after I cast off the Tidblad shawl, I caked up this lovely, lovely orange. I love this color. I'm not normally a huge orange person, but this is like bronzy orange, and I really, really like it. So I cast on the Sweet Dreams shawl by Boone Knits. I am modifying the pattern a little bit. Yep, this far in, already modified. You're supposed to knit stockinette for quite a ways in the pattern before you knit the charts. And I think you're only supposed to do one repeat of the one chart and then one repeat of the edge chart. But I modified it so that I will have lace throughout most of the body. I only knit, I think, 7 rows of stockinette and then got into the pattern, which you totally can't see. Maybe up there on a darker background, sort of. But I'm only one repeat in. I did all of this today. We were watching some, what was it? World Sport Bike Championships. I think the first series came out this weekend, last weekend, I don't know. But we watched it. I enjoy watching racing, motorcycle racing, World Rally Car, Formula One, that kind of thing. Not so much NASCAR. Can't do NASCAR. So, started a new shawl. This yarn is, let's see, oh yeah, I stuck it up here. The Palouse Yarn Company, Fine Merino in the color Bittersweet. I got this from Steph of the Milkshed blog. In December, when that whole Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted thing came around, I wished for a favorite indie dyer or dyer close to you, and she sent me this. So thank you, Steph. I really enjoy it. And yes, I will send you a mini if it's left over, which, reading people's project notes, there should be some left over, I'm hoping. Especially because even though that says it's 4 ounces or 113 grams, I weighed it and there's actually 120 grams here. So you should, cross your fingers, be getting a mini skein, I hope. I am using US size 7 needles, or I think that's a 4.5 millimeter. It says on one side of these things. Yeah, 4.5 millimeter. I'm using a set of ChowGoo circulars. I just picked them up at the craft warehouse up here. I don't have an issue with them. They're pretty cheap. I like them better than Clover. Most of the time for shawls I use my Addy Lace or Addy Turbo needles, but I didn't feel like getting down my wicker basket thing that has my supplies in it. It's in the top of my closet. I was lazy. These were already out. And I'm actually using my yarn bowl to keep this project in for the moment, and the yarn. It's small enough it still fits in there. I'm probably only going to knit this at home, so the yarn will more than likely live in my lovely yarn bowl. I love the details all the way around. My aunt sent me this a couple years ago, I think, and as you can see, it has been repaired. I had it, I think, for 2 days. 2. Before it was broken. 2 days. I thought I had put it in a safe place. I put it in my hope chest, which was at that point very new to me and pretty much empty because I hadn't moved anything into it yet. My boyfriend moved the hope chest, not knowing that this was in it and that I was trying to keep the dogs from running into it and knocking it over and breaking it. And it broke when he moved it. So, glue is a wonderful thing. What's that? E6000 is what I used. I think that's the name of it. That super, super smelly but really strong stuff. And it has lived since then, where he can actually see it and high enough that dogtails cannot get it. So I'm hoping that I don't have to glue it again. The maker's mark is on the bottom. I don't know who made it. My aunt lives in Port Townsend, Washington. And I know that she bought it from someone local to her, but I don't know who that is. So, I'm sorry. If you love it, you're gonna have to Google pottery makers in Port Townsend. I don't know what else to tell you. Yeah. So that is that. Now, I showed you last time these socks. I wasn't very far. It stretches quite a bit, as you can see. Like, I can fit my whole hand in here and stretch it out. So that's not an issue. However, these socks are now in timeout, and I don't know when I'll be picking them up again, because I'm rather frustrated with myself. I knew that this yarn is really a very light fingering weight yarn. I knew it just by looking at it, touching it, feeling it. I knit, what's that? The Cascade sock, Heritage sock yarn. I would approximate this yarn as the same kind of light fingering. This is the Seven Sisters Arts Meridian in Cripple Creek. It's a very nice yarn. It's really soft, don't get me wrong, I love it. I should have picked a bigger size. It's too tight right here to get over, you know, that fat part of where your foot connects to your leg. It doesn't like going around my ankle. Even though I can get my hand in there and stretch it out and it fits on my calf just fine. It's just that whole ankle part. So, I have to restart this. I don't want to, but I do. The only good thing is it means I get to knit this yarn all over again, and since I like knitting, that's not a bad thing. I think that, I think I started the sock with a 66 stitch cast on. I don't think it's a 64. So that means that the size that I would need is actually probably a 70. If it's a 66, it's not going to be a 72 as the next size up. It's going to be a 70 something higher. 76, 78, something like that. Which is fine. It's skinny yarn, it'll still fit. And I can always make the foot smaller if I need to, so that it's not too big around my foot. I just need this part bigger. Anyways, that pattern is the Quercus Prinus. It's one of the solid sock, mystery sock patterns, I think from October of 2014, if I remember correctly. But it's a pretty cabled pattern. I actually really like the pattern. It's inspired by a pair of trees that twist around each other, I guess. But it doesn't fit around my ankle. And I'm like halfway through the foot, over halfway. Look at that. Look. So, disappointed with myself. I should have known better. But it is what it is. I will fix it, and I won't mind knitting the yarn all over again. It's nice yarn. And it doesn't turn my hands blue, which I was kind of worried about because a lot of the darker blue yarns will do that. So, kudos to the dyer. My hands are not blue. Now, I showed you, I don't think I showed you last time, but I showed you the time before my spinning project, which it was a huge number of little tiny bits of samples in a huge variety of colors. I finished my spin and plying and washing. I have these two little 2-ply bits. This one I made it as a sample to see if I wanted to do a 2-ply or a 3-ply. I was pretty sure I wanted to do a 3-ply, but just to be sure, I tried it out. So this would be considered probably a light to regular fingering weight. It's a 2-ply, and you can kind of see it's got quite a bit of barber poling as well as some sections that aren't barber poled. And then I decided on a 3-ply. So this is my finished yarn. It is a traditional 3-ply. It ranges between a fingering to like a heavy fingering or sport weight, but it's all pretty even. I really, really, really like the way that this turned out. I have plans. I'm either going to spin or find a natural, like a cream color maybe, and knit myself a sweater. Because this yarn is beautiful and it's too pretty for socks, and I would like to knit more sweaters. I'd like to knit more sweaters so that I can wear them instead of shawls and cover my arms more. And because it's a whole different kind of knitting. It's not considered accessories anymore, it's clothing. And I've sewn some clothing, I've knit a few sweaters. I want to knit a sweater out of handspun. So this is a goal for me. But I don't have any idea really what the breakdown in content is. There's silk, there's wool, there's alpaca, there's superwash stuff, there's non-superwash stuff. Let's see. There are even a few different kinds of wool. I know that there's Romney and Merino. I know that there is Targhee. I don't know what else there is. There were, let's see, I bought one mix bag of ends from, I don't remember. This is bad. I don't remember who I bought it from. If I remember, I'll write it in the little drop down thingy. And then, let's see, I had, I think, 5 1-ounce bits from Yarn and Divas, which is a yarn store in Port Townsend. And then I had, I think, 6 1-ounce bits from Yarn Hollow, which were just little sample bits. So it is a huge, huge variety of fibers, colors, everything. Guess how much yardage I got? I'm pretty proud of myself. So this is 11.64 ounces between, you know, fingering, sport weight, right in there. 900 yards-ish. Give or take a few yards, I'm sure. But 900. That is a good portion of a sweater. So, if I can, I'm going to either find something that matches or spin something that matches. Oh, that's so messy now. And I'm going to knit a sweater from my hand spun. I'm really happy with it. So that means that I have 2 things on the needles and my wheel is empty right now. I have my next spinning project picked out. I don't know if I'm going to do it on my Jenkins Turkish drop spindles or on my wheel. I'm supposed to be spinning with the Jenkins Turkish spindle group. There's a recipe spin along. There's a whole bunch of different options that you can use to mix and match different fibers, different ply techniques, all kinds of things, different braids, oldest braid in the stash, newest braid in the stash, 3-ply, 2-ply, add the kitchen sink, you know, that kind of thing. So I feel bad that I said, oh yeah, I want to do that, and I haven't done anything yet. But at the same time, I feel really bad about taking my drop spindle out and yelling at my cats and my dogs when they are interested in playing with it, because it's dangly on the end of a string. Yeah, so if I only bring it to work, it's never going to get done. But that's where I typically use my Turkish drop spindles at work. So I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But I have decided, oh, and I need to decide by tomorrow because I go back to work tomorrow morning. I have decided I will be spinning some of my Sunset Fibers stash. Linda is the lady who does the Sunset Fibers dyeing. I met her at the spin-in that actually happens a 1.5 miles away from me at the local library here that my guild helps organize every year. Let's see, I think I met her in 2013? Yeah, because I wasn't there for 2012. So I met her in 2013, and she has a Fiber of the Month, or Roving of the Month dye club. This is pencil roving from the February of 2014. Yep, 2014. Roving of the Month club. So this is 4 ounces of BFL. It is a mixed BFL, so it wasn't all white before it was dyed. It was kind of a blendy color of white and brown, probably. So it has some really deep, pretty This is totally not showing up the right color. Looks way more muddy, but it's a kind of green tinge there. And then there's light blue and dark blue, purple, maroon. The maroon leans more to the purple side than the red side, like this is showing. But the colorway is Roses. Let's see. I don't know. But it's a pencil roving. I have spun quite a lot of her stuff. She's really good at dyeing it without felting any bits at all. So even though this has been in my stash for 2 years, I know that it will be really, really, really nice to spin. And I don't know why I haven't spun it yet. It is not really my favorite colors. I really like the blues. I'm not a huge fan of the more maroony, purpley kind of things. So we'll see how it turns out as a finished spin. I think I'm probably going to spin it as a single and then make a cake and ply it back on itself. So a 2-ply applied back on itself so it has some barber pulling, but I will definitely sample before I do so. See, samples are a good thing. Oh yeah, this is all that was left over after I finished my traditional 3-ply. It is less than my initial sample to see if I wanted to do a 2-ply or a 3-ply. So yeah. Now, kind of, a lot of people are doing this whole week in review kind of thing. I thought that I would do a mileage tally. I'm a runner. I pretty much took all winter off because it got too cold and I didn't want to run because it was cold. So I have started up running again, and the last couple weeks I think I've got in 25 or 30 miles, which is not as much as I was running, but it's good for someone who took all winter off running because it was too cold. I also now have a gym membership, so I can actually go to the gym if it's too cold or if it's windy. Like today I'm supposed to run. I don't know if I will because it has been so windy and because I have run consecutively since Thursday. So I might as well take a day off and not run in the wind. I don't feel like driving up to the gym. It's only about a 10-minute drive, if that. Kind of depends on traffic. When the Hanford traffic is on the bypass, then it's probably a half-hour drive. But normally it doesn't take very long. I've also been doing, I joined the Gold's Gym. So they have all of the classes with the funny names. I joined the Gold's Gym in part because they have classes and because they have so many amenities like a pool, which will be nice in the summer, and the cardio cinema. There's a giant movie screen up on the wall with treadmills and a couple bikes, I think, in the front, and ellipticals. I have used it a couple times, but it's not really my favorite. I don't particularly enjoy treadmills. I lose my balance on them. Like, once I get off of the treadmill after being on it for 45 minutes, hour and a half, something like that, I cannot walk straight. It's rather, I have to make sure that there's something I can kind of get my balance back before I go too far, because otherwise I will walk funny and probably fall over. So I try not to do the treadmills, but it will be nice when it's really, really hot this summer and when it's really, really cold next winter. I haven't signed up for any races yet this year, but I would like to train and race for the Tri-City Marathon and do the marathon length. So rather than do a week in review and tell you about my life, I'm probably going to do a mileage tally and how I'm feeling about running and progress kind of thing. So, for example, on Friday, I did 3 3/4 miles, just over 3 3/4 miles. I brought both Molly and Bella with me, so it was me and 2 dogs. And I have a Garmin Forerunner watch thing that keeps track of my pace. So I like the pace part. I don't really care about anything else. The pace and the time and the mileage, I guess. So I went with pretty much the most basic one that I could get from my local REI. It doesn't do heart rate monitoring. It doesn't do all of the stuff that the activity trackers do. So anyways, I did just over 3 3/4 miles, and my watch told me that I did the fastest 5K that I have yet done with this particular watch. I had one of the Nike ones before this one. It stopped working. I don't really know what happened, but I had to get a new one because it stopped. The first half mile of that 5K distance was walking. It was my warm-up. So the fact that I did my fastest 5K with this watch really made me feel good. I play I don't know if any of you guys have heard of it. If you're a runner, you probably have. I play the Zombies Run game, so there's a storyline and random zombie hordes that chase you down. It's an app on phones that kind of gives you a storyline to run to. I think I had 2 horde chases during this 5K. So I both sprinted, because I don't just have the difficulty of the hordes set to, increase your pace by 10%. I have it set to increase your pace by 25 or 30%, I think it is. Pretty much as fast as it'll let you go. And I had to drag Molly. No, that was the next night. I had to drag Bella for the last zombie horde chase because she was too tired to keep up with me while I was running to get away from the imaginary zombies. Yeah. So, here on out, I will have what I'm wearing, if I'm wearing a hand knit, which I think most of the time I have. What I'm wearing, finished objects, works in progress, hand spun, finished, and next, or in progress, or what have you. And then a running tally at the very end. If you guys have any questions, feel free to message me. I probably won't make a podcast forum, just because I don't get on Ravelry on a frequent enough basis to make sure that I will see everything and respond to everyone. So, message me. It's the easiest way to get a hold of me on either Instagram or Ravelry. And again, you can find me as Lora Clare on Ravelry and Lora.Clare on Instagram. Lora and Clare. Have a good week, guys, and I will talk to you again in a couple weeks.